When I was a child growing up, I was quite interesting. Most people who saw me either thought I was quite weird or strange, and honestly, looking back on it now, I don't think I could blame them. Today, I'm going to tell you some tales of the weird and strange things I used to do as a child. Well, saying that, I still do weird and strange things even now. I'm just older, taller, and have more hair. But that can be a video for another day. The first story I'm going to tell you is when I was a child, I had no concept of danger. Nope, none, 0%, not at all. You know that part of your brain that before you do something possibly risky, steps in and is like, yeah, I don't know about this, you could possibly get hurt. Yeah, mine didn't do that. My brain saw the situation and said, let's see what happens. There was this one year when me and my family went on holiday, and one of those days we went off to the beach. And me being the curious little child I was, I decided to go explore. I went over to these rock pools that was in front of a big rock face. I noticed there was an area over the rock pools, so I climbed over to see what was on the other side. And what I found was this tiny little empty part of the beach where no one else was. It was amazing. I had this tiny little beach all to myself. Well, till I saw some dude rock climbing. Go away, this is my tiny beach. I didn't say that, but that's what I wanted to say. Instead, I just sat there and watched him walk over to the other rock face I was near a moment ago. He then started climbing that one. So in that moment, my brain offered me three options. A, go back to my family and spend the time with them. B, sit and watch from a safe distance whilst this clearly experienced rock climber with all his safety equipment climbs this dangerous rock face. Or option C, follow this man with no safety equipment on and the only thing stopping me from falling onto hard, sharp rocks is my little child hands. Can you guess which one I chose? Yep, so there I was climbing this rock face trying to keep up with this guy. It got to a point where I caught up with him. At this point, he still didn't notice that I was following him alongside the rock face because why would he? I decided to perk up and try to start a conversation like what was happening was completely normal. Wow, it's really nice up here, isn't it? This poor man, the absolute shock on his face. At that point, I kind of realized how panicked he was, saying, "How did you get up here? You have no equipment on." Then in that moment, I actually thought to myself, oh, my life might actually be in danger. That's when I started panicking. So this nice man was talking to me, trying to keep me calm as we made our way down. We weren't super high up, but high enough to the point where if I fell, my small little child body would not be in a good shape. We got down to the bottom, and I remember being more scared of this guy telling my parents of how many times I dropped the F-bomb, more than them knowing I could have seriously got hurt or potentially died. Yes, well done, younger me. Definitely have your priorities straight, don't you? After that, he made sure I was safe, I was good, and then he got back on with his rock climbing. I decided to go back and see my parents. As I was walking back to them, I thought, nah, I'll be fine, I won't get in trouble. They won't know about my dangerous little adventure. But no, turns out from where they were sitting, they could see me Spider-Man climbing up this little rock face, chasing after some random dude. I think they were calling out to me or yelling at me, but I was too focused on climbing to notice that. They can't really remember what they said to me because this was like 11 years ago now. But I feel like it would have gone something along the lines of, "What are you doing? You could have been hurt or even died." I think I had to stay quite close to them after that moment. Now moving on to the second story. This one I call, I used to collect dead animals. Wait, no, before you go, hold on, let me explain. I'm not a freak. Sort of. When I was in secondary school, or high school as some of you people would know it, we had this path going around the sports field at our school. We called it the nature trail. For some reason, I would always find bones of small animals there. It was only in one area though. I used to think it was haunted by students of years past, but I don't know. That was just my theory. But younger me thought this was really cool. I've always loved dinosaurs, so finding these bones made me feel like a real archaeologist. During my breaks, I would go get a little sandwich bag and collect all the bones up. And then when we had to go back to class, I would show all my peers. Let's just say they weren't as excited as I was. For me, it was just really interesting to see firsthand what animals look like with all their skin and flesh and all that just gone. A little side story I just remembered. When I was exploring in those rock pools, I found a dead fish. And I showed my parents, and they were not happy with that. Back to the story. It got to the point where the teachers were like, yeah, you need to stop this. So, unfortunately, I did, and my dreams of being an archaeologist were destroyed in that moment. But now I want to be an animator or an artist, so it's completely fine. Now on to the third and final story of this video. We went out one day to go watch my brother play a football match. Because I was a young child, I wasn't allowed to be left at home on my own, so that means, unfortunately, I was dragged along to these things. I've never really cared about sports too much, so none of this really interested me. So whilst they were all playing football, I went off and tried to find my own entertainment. I would either go make dirt piles, annoy some ants, or maybe climb a tree. But on this day, none of those interested me. What I went and did was something far more stupid. So this pitch was used for rugby and football. So I went over to the rugby post, I saw they had the soft sort of padding thing on them, and I wanted to know how soft they were. So you would think to test how soft something was, any sane human being would either touch it, press a bit of weight on it, and test it like that. How did I test it? I ran face first into it, falling over and laughing every time. And I kept doing that, and doing that, and doing that. To the point where people started to turn around and look at me and think, is he okay? Me being oblivious to this, I was just having a great time. I can only imagine what was going through my mind is it sort of felt like a bouncy castle, but with no bouncing and more face planting.
Hello, welcome to the end card. Thank you for watching all the way up to this point. Honestly, I don't know how my parents managed to keep their sanity. I certainly couldn't deal with a tiny little human who's constantly trying to cause havoc. If you guys have any strange childhood stories, leave them in the comments section below. And if you like this video and want to see more, I will do a part 2. Because God knows I've got a whole list of childhood stories I still have yet to tell. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!